The Rich Man and the Kind Villagers. Once there lived a rich man in a certain village. The rich man had a big bungalow which was fenced on all sides. He had a son named Vijay who was very proud, so proud that he never went out to play with other children of the village. The house teemed with servants, each hired for a specific need. Sadly, the rich man ill treated these servants and paid them very poor wages. The villagers were poor and lived in little huts. The entire estate in that village was actually owned by the rich man. The villagers worked very hard on the rich man's rubber plantation, but the rich man never cared for them. One day, the villagers noticed a big snake in the rubber estate. They tried to kill the snake, but the snake escaped. The villagers informed the rich man about the snake, but he just ignored them and did not take any action. Late one night, a villager's son, Raju, was bitten by the snake and had to be taken to the hospital, but there was no transport facility at that hour of the night. The only man who owned vehicles was the rich man. He had, in fact, 3 cars. The villagers went to the rich man's house and pleaded with him to help them to take Raju to the hospital. Raju's father said, "Please lend me one of your cars. I know how to drive. I promise to bring your car back as soon as I take my son to the hospital. Please, sir, he is dying." But the rich man refused to lend any of his cars. Instead, he ordered his security guards to drive the villagers out of the gate and lock it up. Raju's father and a few men from the village carried Raju and ran as fast as they could to the hospital. But Raju died before they could reach the hospital. They were very sad and they wept bitterly all the way back to the village, carrying Raju's body home. They buried him the next morning. The hard-hearted rich man never even bothered to condole the family. Now, it so happened that within a week, 6 of the villagers died of snake bites. Strangely, all the victims died before they could reach the hospital. The villagers panicked, for they were terribly worried about their own lives. The rich man, however, remained indifferent and did not heed their cry. The villagers had no option but to pray to God to protect them from the deadly snake. One day, a holy man who had come to know about the problem the villagers were facing visited this village. He handed over a stone to one of the villagers and said, "This has a medicinal power to cure any snake bite. All that you have to do is place the stone on the part of the body that the snake has bitten. This stone will take away the poison within 30 minutes, and the person will be well again." The villagers believed that the holy man was God's answer to their prayers. After the visit of that holy man, all those who were bitten by the snake were cured by placing the stone on the bitten area as he had told them to do. The villagers were very happy. One day there was heavy rainfall and a strong wind. Big trees were being uprooted and fell by the wayside. There were flash floods all over. That night, the rich man's son, Vijay, was bitten by the snake. Though the rich man had 3 cars, he could not take Vijay to the hospital as the road was blocked by the uprooted tree. Within a few minutes, Vijay was unconscious. The rich man was desperate and worried, and the only option he had was to approach the villagers and ask for the stone. It was true he had treated the villagers cruelly and was afraid that they would take revenge on him. But in despair and for fear of losing Vijay, he carried him and rushed to the house of the villager who had the stone. In the meantime, news about the snake having bitten Vijay, the rich man's only son, spread like wildfire. One by one, all the villagers came and gathered in front of the house of the man who had the stone. As the rich man reached the house, without being asked, the villagers took out the stone and began treating Vijay, and they all prayed together, asking God to heal Vijay and save his life. The rich man was touched by the kindness shown by these poor but rich hearted villagers. It was not long before Vijay regained consciousness and was out of danger. The rich man said to the villagers, I have been so cruel and unkind to you all, but you have treated me and my family with kindness by curing my son. I cannot thank you enough, and I cannot repay you for what you have done. But from today onwards, I am your brother. The rich man, changed by the kind deeds of the villagers, started to give just wages to all his workers, built a school for the children of the village, and reached out and helped anyone in need. Vijay too became very simple and started playing with the other children of the village. The rich man's gate was never locked again, and there was no security guard thereafter. The villagers could freely enter the rich man's house and could approach him for any problem or need. The rich man welcomed all and was kind to all. He indeed became their brother. Moral of the story: a kind deed can change two lives, one's own and the other's. Do good, and good will return to you.